You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
Hey everybody. Just a quick note before we start the show. We are a science podcast, and we purposely stay away from political issues. Science and science communication is for everyone. We also avoid politics because we live in a stressful, divisive times, and we want this podcast to be a refuge from that and to be here for you when you just need a break from the day and you want to hear stories about the wonderful, bizarre, amazing, naturally fantastic planet that we live on. Something we can't ignore, though, is that all three of us hosts, we live in and record this podcast in Minnesota. And what we can tell you, as people that actually live here, is that whatever you've heard on the news about what's going on here, the truth is worse. We are under siege by our own government. Agents are going door to door, asking people to turn in their neighbors. They're doing random stops of anyone with anything but lily white skin and demanding they prove they are U.S. citizens. They're asking everybody to show their papers. This isn't about immigrants at this point. They are detaining and shipping legal U.S. citizens to other states before even verifying who they are. They're showing up at schools, causing chaos, assaulting and abducting students and teachers. They are tear gassing infants. They are creating terror in our cities and acting as though the law does not apply to them. Literally, as we're recording this, they just executed a man who they had face down in the street here in our city. They executed a U.S. citizen while they had him face down in the street. That's what's going on. And it's frankly something I never thought I would see or hope to never see in my lifetime. Rachel and I were supposed to teach kids today. That's our regular job, to educate kids about nature. And today's school group canceled their field trip. Not because of the cold. We have no problem with the cold. The school literally didn't feel safe letting their kids out of the school to go on a field trip to a nature center because of what our government is doing right now in our cities. So maybe you're not from here. I know most of our listeners aren't. Maybe the news you're watching is even saying that this isn't actually happening. And if you listen to this show for a long while, I hope you trust us as a source of truth in your lives. And please know that we live here. We see every day what is going on. And frankly, it is the saddest thing that we've seen in our lives. Now, Minnesotans are a hardy people. We are supporting our communities and our neighbors, and you can help. If your heart breaks for what you are seeing happening and you wish you could do something, we want to let you know that you can. Please visit standwithminnesota.com to find out how you can help. Now, with that said, I do have to say that Victoria sadly won't be on the show for the next two shows. She's simply too busy helping her neighborhood and doing good, and we appreciate that. But Rachel and I wanted to be here to bring some science and bring some light to your lives. So that, without any further ado, let's start the show.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Hey, Kirk, how's it going? Well,
trying times, Rachel, but
yeah.
I'm happy to be here with you and be sharing some awesome stories. And we've got some fun stories this week.
Yeah, you've been teasing I don't know if it's this week or next week, but you've been teasing a topic, and I'm curious. That is for sure.
Yeah, because you say that, the one that I sort of teased, I'll do that this week. And it's
yeah,
it's maybe not as weird as I made it sound, but it's
no, you just asked it. You're like, so for those of you who don't know, Kirk and I see each other, like before we recorded, we literally saw each other 2.5 hours ago.
Yeah.
So we work
We
together
were outside
every day.
in negative 20 wind chill,
making
digging
a snow cave.
a snow cave. Yeah, basically. So, yeah.
Through ice with an auger. It was a whole thing.
Yeah. We did not finish.
We did not, and this was day 2. But because we work with each other, every once in a while we'll be like, hey, have you heard anything about XYZ topic? And the other one
Not
usually
giving
goes,
away the whole thing, but yeah.
No. And Kirk came up to me the other day. It was like, hey, have you heard anything about
Yams?
Yams? And I went, what?
Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about yams.
I am still curious, and I hope you all are too, because I'm going first this week.
Yeah, you have to wait for the yams. I'm sorry.
Just like I do. So I'm going to take us back a little, a ways. So
Okay.
way back in episode 162.
Oh, wow. Way back. Okay.
Way back. Victoria talked about a syndrome, and I quote, she also talked about this, and I quote from our show, from Victoria, one of the most entertaining scientific papers she had ever read.
Oh, yeah. What was it? I remember she said it was the best paper ever.
I'll get to it. Don't worry.
Okay.
So that was in 2024. So I'm sure she's read other wild scientific papers. And by the way, I did listen to her segment just to make sure I wasn't overlapping or anything.
Okay.
But that particular paper is a wild one. Little did she know that I was worried. She mentioned something in her episode, and I was really worried that she was going to scoop me.
Oh.
And
it's taken you this many years to get back to it. So you
has.
weren't that worried,
I wasn't
apparently.
really that, like, it was one of those things, and she mentioned it in the episode. So we are going into the ocean.
Okay,
and
so 2 years later, you're getting
2
back
years
to
later, I'm going back to it. I wanted to give enough distance, you know? So, I kind of win. Everybody's been lulled into a sense of ease that I orchestrated for all of you. So it's truly tragic that you all are in that ease of sense. That's a weird turn of phrase.
That's real weird.
That is weird. Anyway, so she talked about, in that particular episode, she talked about this phenomena with Irukandji jellyfish.
Those are the really huge ones, right?
No, they are the
I got that totally wrong. Okay.
Jellyfish. You got that
You
so
talked
wrong.
about the huge ones, maybe. Did you talk about the huge ones?
I talked about the big ones, yeah.
Okay.
So she talked about, it was Irukandji syndrome. The paper she was talking about involved the 1950s unsurprising lack of ethics and the fact that the scientist used his son as testing.
This is Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was
he was testing to see what caused Irukandji syndrome. And they found these jellyfish and they were like, yes. So his 9-year-old son and a volunteer lifeguard all got stung for the purpose of seeing if it was this jellyfish. Yeah. So
sometimes parents can be bad people.
Yeah. So she was talking about Irukandji jellyfish and that particular syndrome. They are the smallest jellyfish in the world, and they pack a pretty good punch, as we know. They are a part of the box jellyfish class.
Okay.
So what I was worried about is she mentioned very briefly box jellyfish, and I'm like, is she going to talk about box jellyfish? She better not be talking about box jellyfish. So I'm talking about box jellyfish today.
There you go. All right. We got a few jellyfish topics
we
lately.
have had a few, and I double-checked, and we haven't talked about box jellyfish all that much.
Okay.
So overall, box jellyfish, they're in the class Cubozoa. Mark.
That is fantastic.
Isn't it so great? That is
Love
Latin, by
that.
the way, so we need to add that to my list. I have going. What? It's Latin. It's scientific.
I feel
name.
like Rachel. I feel like it's scientific
Cubozoa.
names, not just Latin words. That seems like a low bar.
Darn. I was so excited when I saw it was Cubozoa. I was like, yeah, I got this.
Do you have a Latin name for us this week?
Or
a scientific name, if you will?
Kind of.
Okay, I have my pencil ready. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm mostly talking about box jellyfish, the class Cubozoa in general, but I am going to go into one of the deadliest in the world. So, a nice and light topic this week.
Awesome.
So when people are mostly thinking about box jellyfish, what are we talking about? Okay. So box jellyfish, they're this class of jellyfish, the cnidarians. They literally look like a cube. Okay. So picture a cube, make it transparent, add tentacles.
Like a gelatinous cube with tentacles. A baby gelatinous cube for our role-playing game friends listening.
Right. Now, yeah. So they, for the most part, they are part of that class. When people think and talk about them, however, most jellyfish that are actually people are referring to is one specific kind of group.
Okay. And not the box jellies.
And not the entire class. No.
Okay.
So the one that they are talking about, it is also known as the Australian box jellyfish. It's nicknamed the sea wasp.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's I'm going to quote from the Wikipedia here. It's a species of extremely venomous box jellyfish. It's a good one.
That's fair.
Right? So it is, the scientific name is
Here we go.
Chironex fleckeri.
I'll accept it. There we go,
Thank
Rachel. You are 3 for 4.
Yeah, 75%. I'm passing. 75%.
All right. It's a passing grade.
It's a passing grade. So what is up with box jellyfish? Okay. So I described what they are. Now, within that class, we have the smallest jellyfish in the world, like can barely be seen kind of thing. Not microscopic. Victoria talked about it in 162.
Yeah.
However, so the sea wasp can, their tentacles can be 10 feet long.
No.
And their bell can be 10 inches across.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
10 feet. That's like
10 feet. That's about a little more than 3 meters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, like, so what I don't like about that is that when it feels like it's something that can sneak up on you, that you could accidentally brush into. You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
They're transparent. You think you're safe? They're also transparent. Like, that's a thing.
I hate that so much.
And not only that, but each of the tentacles of the sea wasp are aptly named.
How many stingers?
They're covered with millions of cnidocytes.
Okay, this is why I don't go in the ocean all that frequently. Also, I don't live near the ocean.
That's what I'm here is to make sure your fear is validated. So they are covered with millions of cnidocytes, which, for those of you who don't know, are the cells within a jellyfish which actually delivers the sting, delivers the venom. So they are like literally making, they have little microscopic darts, and they deliver the venom into. Yeah. Kirk, this is only going to get worse. I'm so sorry to tell you.
You're really making sure I never go back in the ocean, aren't you? I will say last time I went in the ocean, bad things happened. So the ocean is already... I told that story on the podcast, actually.
You did. I mean, they can't live there very long. Their lifespan is up to 1 year, and they get eaten by sea turtles quite often.
Go sea turtles. I love you.
Go sea turtles. So let's see. We're going to talk a little bit more about their range and appearance before I talk about like their where they are, what they look like, those types of things. Before I get into their, toxin, their venom.
All right, give us the quick the rundown on the who, the what, the when, the where, the why.
Exactly. So sorry. Northern Australia and throughout the Indo-Pacific, please be careful. They have also been found a little bit further east. While I was doing research, there was actually some box jellyfish, and like box jellyfish can go in many different places as well. They're found throughout the ocean. So I'm not exactly sure which species, but there was box jellyfish stings and warnings happening in like Hawaii and such as well.
God, I was going to say, don't say Hawaii, Rachel.
I'm so sorry.
One place I sometimes go in the ocean.
Yeah.
And you've wrecked it.
I will tell you that it's not this kind of box jellyfish. So you're safer.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So this particular one is, it's like a pale blue transparent, and they have this cube shape. So I misspoke a little bit earlier. Each tentacle, according to National Geographic, each tentacle, of which there are 15, has about 5,000 stinging cells.
Okay.
Which means that 5,000 times 15 is 75,000. So
might
not
as well
quite
be a million at that point.
Might as well be a million.
Yeah.
But
it's going to feel like a million.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it can still vary like here and there depending on species, and it can also depend on which, like, each individual too. Sorry, I had to burp. So,
right.
Well, it was quiet. All right. So a few things that are important to know about this. So unlike most jellyfish, which we've talked about here on the podcast, they have eyes.
Oh. Okay. That's
they have
like
24
big googly eyes. Okay, no, not like big.
No. They're like
God,
they're not like
the idea
true
of
eyes.
Right?
That would be so
jellyfish.
funny. That would be so good. No, and they're not like true eyes. We've talked about like being able to, like, different ways animals and organisms
light
are
detectors,
able to see.
Basically.
Yeah, so they can see. We don't know exactly how good their eyesight is necessarily, but they have eyes, a total of 24 of some sort, and they're located in clusters around the bell, which is that cube-like structure.
Cool.
Unlike most jellyfish, they are able to swim on their own. They're able to propel themselves, which is unusual. Most jellyfishes kind of go with wherever they need to go. Go with the current. They go with the flow, if you might say. Go with the
flow. Yep.
There it is. So sorry, Brett. I know you hate puns. But it's too bad. So that is one thing that is quite wild, is the fact that they are able to actively hunt and like swim into where they want to go, which is like they don't have a lot of strength to be able to do so, but they do.
They can move around more than just float around.
Yeah. To the point where like they are faster than humans swimming. So
what?
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. So sorry.
Don't
Kirk.
love that. But here's the thing. No. Here's the thing, Rachel. I'm thinking about this.
Okay.
It's easy to be intimidated by or feel uneasy about the things that are not part of your everyday life. We have kids who come out to work all the time who are terrified at the idea that there is poison ivy and stinging nettles and all these sorts of things in the woods where we work. And we're just like, You and I are
No,
just,
you're
well,
fine.
just don't walk through them. Like,
Right.
or they learn that there are coyotes and
They-
they're like, oh my gosh. It's like,
they're like, oh, is
you
this
will
animal going to
never
bite
see
me?
them. Yeah, no.
Are you putting your hand near their face?
The mosquito is what's going to bite you.
Right.
People are afraid of the wasps and all these things. I deal with them every day, so they have no effect on me in terms of like no psychological effect really.
Right.
And it's the same for things in the ocean. Sometimes we get like, oh my gosh, jellyfish and sharks and things. And,
I don't feel that way about sharks. Jellyfish are one of
No.
the very few things that I will not deal with.
I feel like you could accidentally, they're not
Right.
coming after you, but it's sort of like walking through the woods, not paying attention, and you walk right into a big patch of poison ivy or poison oak, right? Like you need to be aware, but it doesn't mean that you should avoid the ocean at all costs, right?
Right, exactly. And like the thing is like I say they swim faster than most humans. There are Olympic
swim pretty
swimmers that
slow.
faster. Yeah, I'm a pretty slow swimmer. They swim like 4.6 miles per hour or 7.4 kilometers per hour, which is a pretty good clip because they are able to like contract to be able to actively swim, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's still not that fast. I'd be more worried about their tentacles than anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. What happens if you get stung? That's what we want to know.
Yeah. So this particular jellyfish, the Chironex fleckeri, the sea wasp, is the most lethal jellyfish in the world with at least 64 known deaths.
Take back everything I said.
Yeah, from 1884 to 2021.
Wait. From what year?
1884
Okay, 1884 is different than 1984. That's not very many
to
deaths.
2021. I
That's
mean,
a
yeah,
long
if you go,
time.
that's a long time. That is very fair. Yeah. So,
More people probably die from cows. I mean, we talked about this fact that more people die from being attacked by cows than sharks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right? I
More
mean,
people
like,
will die from
More people
cows.
die by being crushed by vending machines.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so most encounters are pretty like mild because, like you said,
good.
you're just brushing a little one edge or whatever.
You're not wrestling with them.
No. If you do, apparently, according to pretty much everything, the sting produces excruciating pain.
Okay.
Followed by a burning sensation, and like a lot of folks are like, it feels like being branded.
Not sure how much experience people have with being branded, but it sounds bad.
Yeah. So the sting will cause can cause permanent damage or death to the skin in that space. So there's some necrosis that can happen.
My God.
Often what'll happen is if the bigger the jellyfish, the more likely you are to die. If it's left untreated,
Oh, jeez.
if it's left untreated and you have a large amount, like you get tangled underneath all
you
of
get multiple.
you're tangled in underneath the bell with every single like 15 tentacles coming after you or whatever, touching you.
Is this a bear skin situation? Can this go
Yes.
through like a rash guard and things like that?
I think so, but there's not been a lot with that. Most of it is like skin touch.
Okay.
Because that is also kind of what causes like the reaction in the first place.
Right. Full
But-
wetsuit.
So if you have a large amount of venom injected into you by this jellyfish, you're gonna die in 5 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen if you accidentally stumble into poison ivy or stinging nettle.
No.
Or even a
No.
wasp nest.
Yeah. So unfortunately, most deaths in recent decades, it's happened in children because they're smaller and they're higher risk of getting more venom.
Sure.
And usually what is happening is it is affecting the cardiovascular system, which is very similar to the irukandji jellyfish, which is part of the box jellyfish family.
Yeah.
Class. And that is usually what ends up happening is you have a cardiac arrest is what ends up happening. It's literally,
or
they
drowned,
literally stop
at that point
your heart and you're drowning. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much what ends up happening is, So pretty much what happens is the venom causes your cells to allow potassium to leak out, which is a really important within the pathways of like cell and like allowing flow of nutrients and everything. We have potassium pathways and all of those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Victoria knows so much about this because I remember this in my anatomy class and I had to take a minute because I liked anatomy, I really did, but it was going into the cell level of stuff, like, oh my God.
It's wild.
It's so wild. It's like, this is another world. What do you mean this is happening in my body? Anyway, so it will cause hyperkalemia, which is where you have too much potassium in your system, into your blood and things. And that actually will lead to your cardiovascular system to collapse and die.
Within 5 minutes. That is...
Yeah.
Wild.
Hyperkalemia can cause you to die within 2 to 5 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing how finely balanced our bodies are able to regulate and keep themselves. And when you throw things out of equilibrium, things go bad fast.
Really, really quickly. Yeah. So it really what ends up happening is it doesn't take a ton with a lethal dose of 0.04 milligrams per kilogram.
But the LD50?
The LD50 is 0.04 milligrams per kilogram for this particular toxin per kilogram of your body. Okay. So you can withstand, most people survive this. They end up with a rash that's super itchy.
But you can see why it's so deadly for children because their body weighs so much less. The chance of getting that LD50 or greater dose is high. Yeah,
it is a lot higher, and that's common with anything that is venomous.
Sure.
And now there is a type of anti-venom and such.
Yay!
So that's great. The first antidote actually happened in 2019. So real recent.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're wild species, and because it's so deadly, and it's literally called the sea wasp or marine stinger. Be careful in the ocean. And it is apparently very, very painful if you do get stung, and then afterwards, most likely you'll survive, but you're going to have pain for a long time because it attacks the heart, it attacks the nervous system, and attacks the skin cells. So be careful out there. It's pretty cool though overall. So cool. That's what I have for you all. I wanted to talk about the box jellyfish. Just so you all know, my sources this week, I used oceaninfo.com has a really cool thing about box jellyfish. National Geographic, Wikipedia, as well as Living Animal had a great resource as well about it's an encyclopedia. So that was really cool to be able to see that. All right, when we return, it'll be Kirk.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Last week, I did a topic that would have been a good one for Halloween when I talked about vampire bats.
Right.
And this week, I have a topic that would probably be good for Thanksgiving because it's about Yams.
Yeah, what's with the yams, Kirk?
Well, I'll say for those not in the U.S., yams are commonly served at Thanksgiving dinner. It's probably because they're from the Americas, and Thanksgiving dinner tends to be like a celebration of either North American or at least North and South American foods, turkey, yams, cranberries, etc. But to be clear, no one actually has yams for Thanksgiving in the U.S.
No.
Because yams aren't yams. Right? Do you know this?
They sweet potatoes?
Yeah. So you'll sometimes
Okay.
see what people call yams. I'm doing air quotes here.
Right.
Yams for sale at the grocery store, and those orange fleshed pointy potatoes are in fact potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sweet potatoes. And I know some of our listeners love to have yams in a casserole dish baked with sweet brown sugar or orange juice syrup, topped with marshmallows, and then baked until golden brown and delightful.
You had me until the marshmallows.
I know it's what people do. It's what people do.
Yeah.
But those are.
I've had it. It's not bad.
Yeah, those aren't yams you're cooking. Those are sweet potatoes.
Right.
I feel like I actually don't see them called yams as much as I did when I was a kid. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people have realized that true yams are like a completely different food. They actually have a white flesh and almost bark-like outer coating. They also come from Africa and Asia, not the Americas. This is one of those weird things where people use the wrong
They're
word.
white. They're not
Yeah.
orange.
Yeah. There's also white sweet potatoes. It's really confusing, you guys. But we don't generally have yams in our grocery stores here in the U.S. You can certainly get them here, to be clear. But if you see something labeled as a yam, it's probably not a yam. So I just wanted to clear that up at the beginning of the episode, since I am going to be talking about yams. And if you're picturing sweet potatoes, you're going to be really confused because they're not at all related.
Nope. Our Instagram, our social media, and our newsletter will have a picture of a true yam.
True it will. Sign up for that newsletter, folks.
Oh, yeah.
One other thing to note is that there are over 870 species, probably and counting, of yams in the world. Yeah.
I'm not
870.
including 870 pictures of yams.
No, you
I'm
should
gonna say
not.
that.
Actually, only a few of them are eaten by humans, and some are even poisonous. Yams
good.
are just one of the common names that's given to plants in the genus Dioscorea. So while I'm talking about a yam this week, I'm actually not even talking about one of the edible ones.
Oh, of course not. Why would you do that?
At least not for humans. So the specific yam in question is called Dioscorea melanophyma. The name melanophyma is interesting. Melano meaning dark, and phyma goes back to Greek. It basically means like growth, but also it's commonly used actually in medicine to mean like tumor or bump or boil. But I think in this case, when they named it melanophyma, they just meant black fruit. The common name of this.
Does it have black growths on it?
It does, yeah, but they're look like little fruits. So the common name is actually the black fruited yam. So I think it's cool when the common name and the scientific name are essentially the same. I like that.
That is pretty fun. It just feels satisfying.
It does. Now this yam is a climbing vine found in East Asia, basically from the Himalayas through a pretty wide area into South Central China. And as a side note, I actually discovered a very cool website you should all check out. When I was reading up on this week's topic, the Kew Royal Botanical Garden has a resource called Plants of the World Online. And they have like range maps of species and things like that. But they also have a high resolution scan of the actual holotype of this species that was collected for the herbarium.
That's cool.
Those who don't know what like a holotype is, there's a bunch of different types out there. Like if there's the, when I think of type, it's like the one that was used to describe the species. A holotype.
Go for it.
Yeah, a holotype is not the actual one, like the official one that was used, but it is one of the ones in a series of the ones collected to describe the species, if that makes sense. So this is an actual holotype of the species. They have it scanned in.
An amalgamation of a bunch of ones that tell you what it looks like.
Yeah, you could kind of say that. Part of a collection.
Okay. Gotcha.
So this species was actually first described for science in 1908. But if you want to see it, they've got a really cool
That's-
scan of the plant. Although, frankly, it's taped to a piece of paper and pressed flat. These days we have very great photos online or in our newsletter. Check it out.
Yeah.
One of the really interesting things about this species, though, is that it can reproduce both sexually and asexually.
Just
So
like
for
jellyfish.
those of you, yeah, for those of you who may have slept through biology class, what this means is that the plant can reproduce both by having flowers that are fertilized and creating fruit that contains seeds. And those seeds would then have the genetic material of both of the parent plants, kind of like a 50-50 arrangement usually. But if a plant cannot get pollen from a suitable mate, some plants can actually reproduce asexually. And this usually involves dropping some part of themselves off that can grow into a new copy of the parent. It could be through underground runners or rhizomes, bulbs, tubers, or like I said, literally just parts that break off and then root in the ground. We've
talked about it many times.
Yeah, plants can spread this way slowly. It doesn't.
We talked
really,
about Pando doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Pando is an example of like that huge stands of aspen trees that are all colonially the same tree, but it's been growing for, we think, 14,000 years or something like that, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's still only gone like a mile or something like that. So you go, okay, like it's slow. Asexual reproduction. One of the problems is that it's hard to spread very far using that method.
Right.
It also doesn't boost species diversity, as no DNA is recombined or like remixed. The offspring are essentially a clone of the parents. But it does allow plants to spread, albeit slowly, and continue to live, because the new offspring will grow up, and even if the adults die off, then the species goes on. So it is an important thing that happens in nature with plants. Now, the black-fruited yam performs asexual reproduction by growing these weird little bulb-like structures called bulbils.
Bubbles?
Not bubbles. It's bulbils, Bulbils.
So not even baubles.
No, it's not an easy word to say. Bulbils.
Okay.
I don't care for it. But these can drop off, and then new plants will grow. So I think this is a pretty cool, but not all that strange. And to be frank,
No.
it's mildly interesting at most in the plant world. This is not super unusual to have, again, some part that just falls off and grows into a new plant. However, there is something more going on here, and researchers say this is the very first time this has ever been seen in a plant species on Earth. Well, or anywhere. We don't study plants other places. The on Earth part was probably unnecessary, but I enjoy that. Yes.
Yet.
So these yams are engaging in endozoorchy, which I don't.
Kirk.
Is that endozoorchy? Which something I don't think that's a word we've actually used on the show before.
No, I know endo.
We've talked
means,
about it.
What we have?
We have actually.
I was just about to be like,
word.
I've never heard this word in my life.
Yeah.
Apparently that's a lie.
So-
I have heard this.
Endozoorchy is when plants trick animals into eating their fruit, so they will spread the seeds after a journey through the digestive system.
Okay,
And we've
have
definitely talked about
this
this on the show a bunch.
Maybe we've
Humans-
talked about it and never used that word.
We've never used that
because that's
word.
a wild
It's a wild word. Humans, by the way, fall for this all the time. Basically,
Oh,
all of the fruit
I
we
do
eat,
it every day.
has tricked us into spreading their seeds around the world by being tasty and yummy for humans.
Delicious.
We've been helping
Eat a
plants
strawberry.
spread their seeds this way for millions of years, longer than there were humans. Our ancestors and species we evolved from were doing this long ago. So, we've had some interesting examples of this on the show over the years. But what's truly wild here is a unique story of both endozoorchy and mimicry. So a new study in where else, Rachel, but the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences
Academy of Science. We love we love this journal.
has
So
revealed
good.
the black-fruited yams are the only known species of plant in the world to use endozoorchy to spread asexually.
Okay.
So it turns out that these bulbils of the black fruited yam have evolved through natural selection to look just like some of the preferred small fruits of local birds. And the birds eat the bulbils thinking that they are fruits when they're not. They're just little growths on the plant. And they then eat them and fly away. And the plant...
They're like, look at this delicious
look at this
berry.
great fruit. Yeah. And I think they often find them kind of like in the off season when fruits are harder to find. And they're like, oh, great, there's some fruit left here. So they go,
That's
I'll
pretty
try
smart.
these. Yeah. And this plant seems to have overcome one of like the major drawbacks to asexual reproduction. You know, like I said, typically it's hard to get very far from the
Yeah,
host
you're not
plant.
going very far.
If you're just dropping
usually.
to the ground, if you're lucky you're on a hill, you might roll down the hill, I guess. But tricking a bird to do it for you, like I said, it's not a new trick in nature, but it isn't something we've ever seen done by a plant that's reproducing asexually. It's something we've
Right.
only ever seen with fruit that has seeds in it in the past. So
Right, because you
I guess-
want your offspring to be as far away as possible.
So,
Just so that way you're spreading around
and also
that's-
not competing with your offspring
yourself.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in one sense it's not that surprising that these growths would over time, if they happen to look a little bit like fruit to start with, the ones that look more like fruit are going to get naturally selected for, and those are the ones that get planted. So those, that's just how natural selection works, you guys, right?
That's
So
how pressure works. Yeah.
it's kind of not, I guess, in that sense, surprising that this would happen. Maybe what's really surprising is that we've never seen this before.
Yeah. What
right?
a niche
That's kind of the
thing
surprising
to
thing.
fill.
Yeah. Now, researchers looking at this found 22 species of birds falling for the trick fruit and showed that to the birds, they look indistinguishable from the real deal. And because they aren't fruit, though, the birds are far more likely to just eventually drop them. Once they're dropped, if the location is suitable, the new plant can begin to grow, right?
Right.
Interestingly, I thought the story ended there, but it doesn't. These little bulbils can also survive the trip through the bird's digestive tract, which I
That's
don't totally understand, because often it's like the fruit like gets digested and the
outer
seed
covering.
survives.
Yeah.
These look really big to be passing through.
Can you
the entire
imagine
digestive-
that poop?
Sounds awful.
That sounds like the worst poop for that bird.
And maybe they're partially digested, but any portion that's left can grow into a new,
Maybe.
vine. Not
Huh.
quite sure. That wasn't discussed, but really interesting. They did show
I
that
want
they
to know
can.
more.
They did actually test and show they can germinate after being swallowed and, shall we say, deposited some distance away using
They got
math.
pooped out.
Using math and estimates, the researchers think the average bulbils are deposited within 230 meters of the plant. So that's not all that far away, but
Yeah,
certainly
it's
further
still
than
further
falling.
than what they would get to.
Exactly. But they said that they could end up being over 500 meters away. I think from the top of my head, it was like maybe 6% of them would kind of get that far, which is
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
And then they said, possibly they could get even further, say if a bird was taken by a predator and carried
Ooh,
someplace
yeah.
else, right?
Mhm.
So it just goes to show, you only need a few of those events to take you to a new habitat to spread. It only takes one successful time. I've literally seen fish spread to new lakes that didn't have fish when an osprey, accidentally drops a fish and it goes woo, flying through the air and might land in the
Down
forest,
it goes.
might land in a lake. And if it lands in a lake and it was a pregnant female, boom, you've got fish in that lake now, right? So it only takes one successful time for one of these events to happen for things to spread. So that's really cool.
That is wild.
That's what I've got. The world's first plant now shown to spread asexually by mimicking fruits and tricking birds into spreading them around and doing something the plants couldn't do on their own.
That's awesome.
Super
my
cool. That's
gosh.
so and it's a yam. So that's why we're
All right. All right.
I said we're talking about yams. Not the
Yep.
yams you were probably thinking of.
No,
but that's,
not in the
that's the yams
slightest.
we're talking about.
Ugh.
Maybe we'll talk about other. There's so many species of yams. I'm sure they'll come up again some other time.
Oh, yeah.
I will say the only source I didn't mention directly in this week's story was an article from phys.org called Asexual Yam Species Employs Mimicry to Trick Birds and Spread Further.
Amazing.
Very cool.
Thanks,
Well, that's
Kirk.
what we have for everyone this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Everyone, stay safe. Have a wonderful time exploring the outdoors if you can get outside. And we'll see you here next time.
Oh, yeah. See y'all next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.